There's this idea that humans are the smartest creatures on Earth. We built cities and space rockets and computers. How much smarter do you need to be than that? But are we smart enough? If you think about it, the problems we face today are largely of our own making. Pollution, resource depletion, climate change, they're all symptoms of our unsustainable way of life. But they're also an opportunity for us to learn and adapt. What if buildings could breathe like forests and work with nature instead of against it? That question, asked during the energy crisis of the 1970s, gave birth to the green building movement. Today, architects around the world are taking inspiration from nature to design structures that are not just energy efficient, but actually improve our relationship with the natural world. It's all about looking to nature for solutions to the problems that we've created. Can we create a building that mimics the way a bird's nest works? What if walls could breathe like trees? Can we create a cooling system that mimics the way a desert cools off at night? By turning these questions into design solutions, architects are creating healthier, more sustainable buildings that save us money, energy, and resources. Take, for example, the Eastgate Center in Harare, Zimbabwe. This 5-story building was designed to mimic the way a termite mound works. Termites are really good at keeping their mounds cool in the hot Zimbabwean sun. And the architects were able to use this natural process to create a building that requires very little energy to cool. The building has no air conditioning, and yet it's always comfortable inside. Or take a look at the Crystal, a unique office building in London. It was designed to maximize natural light and views of the outdoors while minimizing energy use. The result is a building that feels like it's floating in midair, connected to the outside world through its glass walls. These are just 2 examples of how architects are taking inspiration from nature to create better buildings. There are many more examples I could share with you, but you'll have to explore them on your own. So next time you see a building, take a closer look. You might be surprised at what you find. You might even start to see buildings not just as structures made of concrete and steel, but as living things that can grow and adapt to our changing needs. Take a look around you. Chances are you're surrounded by buildings. They're the backdrop of our modern lives, shaping the way we work, shop, and play. But have you ever stopped to think about the buildings themselves? Have you ever wondered how they're designed or why they're shaped the way they are? Buildings are more than just structures. They're a reflection of our values, our creativity, and our relationship with the natural world. As you look around, I want you to think about the buildings that catch your eye. Are there any that stand out as particularly beautiful or interesting? Maybe it's the way the light falls through the windows of an old brick building or the sleek lines of a modern skyscraper. Take a moment to appreciate the details, the textures, and the way the building interacts with its surroundings. This exercise isn't just about appreciating the aesthetics of buildings. It's about recognizing that every building is a design solution, a response to the challenges of its time and place. The way a building looks is not just for our enjoyment, but serves a function. The design is an answer to questions like how can we make the most of the available space? How can we ensure the safety and well-being of the people inside? And how can we create a structure that stands the test of time? As you continue to look around, ask yourself what the buildings are telling you about the people who designed and built them. What values, priorities, and constraints are reflected in these structures? How do they reflect the history and culture of the community they serve? Now let's take this exploration a step further. I want you to imagine that you're an architect tasked with designing a new building for your community. What type of building is it? A school, a community center, or maybe a place for people to come together? Think about the specific needs of this building and the people who will use it. Now imagine the possibilities. How can you create a structure that is not only functional, but also beautiful and sustainable? How can you incorporate elements of nature into your design? Maybe you can use natural materials, passive heating and cooling strategies, or renewable energy sources. It's time to share your ideas. Discuss with your classmates or family the building you designed and the decisions you made. What challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them? What did you learn about the design process and the role of an architect? Building design is not just about aesthetics. It's about problem-solving, sustainability, and creating spaces that enhance our lives. It's about understanding the needs of the people who will use the building and incorporating the natural environment into the design. Take the Crystal in London, for example. This unique office building was designed with sustainability in mind. It maximizes natural light and views of the outdoors while minimizing energy use. The result is a building that is not only beautiful to look at, but also reduces the need for artificial lighting and heating. Another great example is the Eastgate Center in Zimbabwe. This five-story building was inspired by the way a termite mound works. Termites are experts at keeping their mounds cool in the hot Zimbabwean sun. And the architects were able to use this natural process to create a building that needs very little energy to cool. No air conditioning needed. But it's not just about imitating nature. It's about understanding the principles behind natural systems and applying them to our designs. In the case of the Crystal, it's about harnessing the power of the sun to provide natural light and heat. In the case of the Eastgate Center, it's about using the building's shape and materials to create a comfortable indoor environment without air conditioning. In fact, these two buildings are part of a larger trend in architecture called biomimicry. Biomimicry is the practice of taking inspiration from nature to solve human problems. Architects have been using biomimicry for centuries, often without even realizing it. For example, the traditional Japanese house has a steeply pitched roof that is designed to shed snow efficiently. This is a great solution to a problem that many people in snowy climates face. But it wasn't until the 1980s that the term biomimicry was coined and the field began to be studied more formally. Today, biomimicry is being used to address some of the biggest challenges facing our planet, such as climate change, resource depletion, and pollution. By taking inspiration from nature, we can create solutions that are more efficient, sustainable, and resilient. So the next time you look up at a building, ask yourself how it was designed and why. Chances are you'll be amazed at what you learn. And who knows, maybe you'll even get inspired to design a building of your own. Well, that's it for today's session. But before we go, let's quickly review what we've covered. First, we talked about how buildings are not just structures, but reflections of our values and relationship with nature. Then we explored how architects take inspiration from nature to create sustainable and functional buildings. Finally, we delved into the concept of biomimicry and how it can help us address global challenges. Now it's time for you to put your learning into action. Here are a few ways you can continue exploring this topic. Design a building that incorporates elements of nature into its design. Share your ideas with others and discuss the benefits of sustainable building practices. Conduct research on famous buildings. Analyze their design choices and explain how they reflect the needs of the people who use them. As you continue to learn and grow, remember to stay curious. The world is full of amazing things to discover and explore. So keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep building your knowledge. Thanks for joining me on this journey of discovery. Until next time, keep looking up and never stop exploring.